what we've lined up for you. We'll have a brief discussion on it before we wrap us as well. So we'll take our first video where commuters are calling on government to work towards finding lasting solutions to the ongoing transportation crisis in parts of the capital.
The rush to beat Thursday morning traffic resulted in disappointment for hundreds of commuters in Accra. The frustration at the Teshi Mobile Junction was evident in the long queues and extended periods of waiting.
When I was coming, I get there were plenty people there. There was no car. So I've decided to take to the station here to see if I can get another car to continue to 37. Still, I'm here. I came to the roadside around 6 something. I'm still here without car. People are struggling, fighting to get a vehicle. So the challenges here is too much, Masa. It's not easy. There are people here. If you go to Nungwa there are plenty people, sea of people there looking for car. They don't get it. They don't find car. So the transport problem there, we have it. And many of the drivers, if they are going to 37, they will take to station here. Then they will, so because they want more money. So when they take from Nungwa, they load from Nungwa to here. Then they will drop people here and take 37 people. So instead of paying 6 cities to 37, you end up paying maybe getting to 10 cities.
Actually, 5 hours by day from here to Abubuasi, we didn't even get car right now. And people are suffering for here about car early in the morning. And traffic too is, even how it is even warriors is not easy. So I'm begging they should help us about the transport issue so that we can be getting it easier for Teshi Mobile here.
At the Nungwa Junction terminal, commuters shared similar experiences, calling on government to urgently intervene and ease the challenges associated with accessing public transport during peak hours.
Transport issue here is very difficult, very, very difficult. You come here and try to board the car, but you wait more than sometimes 15 minutes to 30 minutes before you get the car. Yes, I'm going to Sakumono here, just Estate Junction here. Sometimes see the crowd, you'll be fighting about getting the car. It's very difficult. Transportation issue here is very difficult. So I don't know if government have something to do about this, so that it will calm this situation. It's very, very difficult, especially in the morning when we are going to work. We find it difficult.
Accra Mayor Michael Nikbakbo Alote, in a reaction, has assured residents that the government is taking steps to secure additional buses, a move he says will help reduce the pressure on commuters in the coming days.
Is bringing electric buses. We are starting the first metro transport in Accra, which we are going to have a very cheaper fares. So you should pray. The mayor has a good thing to offer the people of Accra. We are bringing the first metro transport. It's electric bus, so we don't buy fuel. So with 3 CD, 4 CD, you can go wherever you want to go. And the price is going to be the same. If you pick the car from Accra to Circle, it's the same. If you pick a car from Accra to Kaneshi, it will be the same. So it's something that we are going to do. We are looking at.
According to the Minister of Transport, Joseph Bukari Nikbe, the current situation stems from withdrawal of buses that were temporarily deployed during the Yuletide. He noted that a few of the buses have been redeployed to heavily affected routes to address the challenge.
We are looking at the daily basis movement and seeing if we need to add more, then we'll add more. Again, we are also at the verge of seeing how we can get the private sector to bring in more of the buses and other vehicles to be able to help when it gets to peak hours in the mornings and in the evenings. But we have called back. When we withdrew the services, we saw the tension it created, and we have called back some of the buses to start again making their movements. We are studying the ground to see whether they will need more, or we will have to continue with the skeletal or the small number that we have operating for now.
Getting a car to your destination after work in Accra has often been time-consuming, highly stressful, and this has often been as a result of traffic congestion or public transport challenges. Today, the situation is no different here at La Paz, precisely the Las Palmas junction, as several commuters have poured onto the streets in a bid to get transport to their respective destinations. Many are jostling to make way into the minivans that approach them to get on board to their respective destinations, and it's been a hectic one at that. Those who do not have that strength to struggle make sure that they stand waiting for hours before they can be able to get a vehicle that is spacious enough to accommodate them. I have some of these commuters here. I would want to approach a few of them and engage them, find out what exactly the situation is. Sir, good evening and thanks for joining us. Sir, we want to find out from you, where are you heading to and for how long have you been here?
Oh, I'm heading to Awoshi, and I went to buy some food stuff, so I'm going back home.
For how long have you been here?
Let's say 2 hours now.
2 hours?
2 hours now, because there's no car available, so I have to wait. People are struggling to get car, but still, I'm still waiting to get vehicle to my end, but yes, still.
But it's strange that you've been here for 2 hours and you're not getting vehicles. Some 30 minutes and 20 minutes, but 2 hours is quite strange.
It's true, because where the car is going, I've not been getting car to where I'm going. That's why I've been here for long. So I'm still waiting. If I'll get vehicle.
Is this your first time here picking a vehicle, or you come here every
No, I used to be coming here. For the past 2 weeks, I've been coming here.
And this has been the situation.
Today it's been so hectic. I've not been getting vehicle. That's what I'm saying, almost 2 hours.
I'm a butcher.
While some drivers take advantage of the numbers to charge extra fares, others load what is locally called short, a situation where drivers load short distance instead of loading to a straight destination. Drivers refuse to load for a single destination but make stops, thereby charging extra fares. Some passengers, however, do not have an option than to pay more to get to their destinations at the expense of their finances and budget.
You budget for the normal fare, and then you come and they are charging a little amount over there, so it affects us. Normally, you go to market, you know you have a sales, but you have to pay double before you can come home. So this also drain our pockets.
Especially Mondays and students in the cars on mobile, they be loading before the banana they are late. Especially Kwabiri East municipality, Bro
At Kenyasia Brem in the Kwabiri East municipality, the situation is dire, especially in the early morning rush hours of the weekdays. One of the students said they miss lessons and sometimes get to school during the first break period. Other students say they are made to pay gate fee for lateness and punished by their teachers in addition. The drivers, however, justified their actions.
Because they say, can you imagine, say, 6 o'clock, or Solano for 6, or Kukruma, but could be 4 hours, Waba. It's over 8 lumber, or Kokla is 6. 6 in the food, it's a own a sick and all the air. And so it's also an short night, 1 million quarter of crown and now basis my day. Amount, that's what you mean.
Meanwhile, over 100 of the Ayalolo buses are parked at the STC yard at Oforikrom as transport crisis worsens in the city. The situation in the Kwabiri East municipality is similar in other areas in the Ashanti region like Daban, Ibuakwa, Asokorimampon, Ejiso, Swame, Mekro, and Tafo. The transportation struggles becomes worse during the evening rush hours where passengers and commuters do not find vehicles back to their various homes after a hard day's work.
Passengers continue to struggle to get vehicles to their various destinations. Students are the hardest hit in this situation. Passengers and the students are calling on authorities to intervene to address this concern. Hafiz Tijani, ChannelOne News, Kwabiri East Municipality, Ashanti Region.
Right, so what was initially thought to be just a problem within the capital city. We're fast witnessing that also in the second largest city, Kumasi, it's also a big issue as well. Residents there struggling to get cars to their various destinations. And of course, we've been chronicling the event here at ChannelOne and City FM. One of such persons or reporters behind the story joins us in studio, Jeffrey Fifi Annan, who, by the way, hosts Vibe Room
City 97.3 FM.
and also as part of the team, the Ghana Weekend team.
Yeah.
Fifi, always a pleasure having you. Good morning, welcome to Sunday
Good morning,
Breakfast.
Jude. Thank you for having me. I've missed both of you so much.
Same
We
here.
missed you
I
too.
can say same, you know. What were your experiences, right? I'm trying to rephrase the question properly, but what were your experiences when you went out?
So on Thursday, I was at Circle, you know, the part where the commercial vehicles lead to Nsawam, Mile 7, Pokwasi, and those areas. If you are very familiar with that route, you know that every evening there is a lot of people there waiting for vehicles to their various destinations. Even before this whole transportation crunch became a big issue in Ghana, the place has always been like that. But because of the situation now, it's even worsened, you know. I got there around 7:30, yeah. So as at 7:30, the number of people there, it was as though it was an election day. And people were queuing up to go and vote. You know how people queue up at hotspot polling stations? That is the scenery. So imagine an election day, everyone eager to go and vote at a particular hotspot polling station, because if you don't go on time, you might not be able to vote early. You get me? Yeah, so that was the situation there. There were children, old women, old men, all lined up waiting for vehicles to their various destinations. Now, one thing I noticed when I got to Circle was the presence of members of the Accra Metropolitan Assembly Task Force, trying to make sure that these drivers do not overcharge the fares, because there was a mad rush for it. Vehicles heading to Barrier, Pokwasi, that ordinarily would take, say, 8 cities, are now charging 10 cities. Some are charging 15 cities. Some even 20 cities. And you know how our system is. Sometimes you go to work with a budget. So if you spend every amount of money on you, and then you leave your 8 cities transportation, and then you get there and you are being told you need to pay extra as transportation fare, it leaves you stranded. So I spoke to quite a number of people at Circle, and then there was this particular old man whose response got me emotional. You know, he came to church. His only crime was coming to worship, and he told me he had been there for an hour. An old man.
Yeah, I remember that interview.
He had been there for an hour.
I spoke to you on CNR
yes,
that
he spoke
evening.
to me on CNR. And so the situation is that bad. And then on Friday, I went to Kaneshi. If you know Kaneshi, well, there's a place called Mamprobi right before you get to the Kaneshi market. And the story was the same. Long queue, people heading to Kaswa, Liberia Camp, Mile 7. Did I say Mile 7? Apologies. Malam Junction, and all those areas, its surroundings. Same situation. I interacted with quite a number of them, and the same issue. Prices are being increased because there's a shortage of commercial vehicles to convey them to their various destinations. Some had been there for over an hour. And so, you know, there was a conversation about government coming in to mitigate the situation. So I interacted with some of them, whether there's been any government vehicles, that's the Metro Mars, the Ayalolos. Have they seen such buses there to, you know, maybe charge them lesser prices to convey them to their destination? And one woman spoke to me. She's a trader there, but she comes from Kaswa to Kaneshi every day. Now, she told me the Metro Mars transport buses were even charging the same price as these commercial trotro drivers were charging them, that the exorbitant prices. And so she was very infuriated that government is aware this is the situation at hand, and then you tell us you are going to come in to support us with your buses. Now these buses come and they're also charging the 10 cedis from Kaneshi to Kaswa, which ordinarily shouldn't be so. And so she was very, 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 very angry. You know, I spoke to the eyewitness team, and then later in the evening on CNR as well. So Jude, that's been the experience from all the two places I've been to so far. But for Kaneshi, there were not task force persons ensuring that drivers did not overcharge the fare that people were supposed to ordinarily pay to wherever they were going to. But for Circle, I can tell you on authority that there were task force persons there. Some conductors and drivers were even being whipped for overcharging the transportation fares. So yeah, that's the experience from both places I've been to.
Interesting. We'll go over the phone lines, right, via Zoom,
yes.
and speak to
Middle Belt
Hafiz
Bureau Chief Hafiz Tijani.
You know, we initially thought it was just an Accra problem, right? But for certain parts of Kumasi, it's also persisting. Good morning, Hafiz, and welcome to Sunday Breakfast.
Good morning, Mr. Duncan and the team.
Amazing. Can you also create a picture for us in the Ashanti region? How severe is this looming transportation crisis?
Well, so very severe in the Ashanti region. So when you go to areas like the Central Business District, that is Edum, you go to areas like the Konfanoche Teaching Hospital roundabout, you go to areas like the Abrefo Junction, you go to areas like Sufo Line, you go to areas like Swami and Macro, you go to areas like Dr. Mensa, the Kejitia areas. When people want cars or vehicles to go back to their homes after a hard day's work, it's very, very, very difficult for them. And this is just in the evening. And in the morning too, when they need these vehicles to go to their various workplaces, and school children and students going to their various schools, is very, very difficult. So you look at areas like Dabai and Pabami and those areas, you realize that in the morning they're not getting the vehicles to the their various workplaces and the Central Business District. So these are some of the densely populated areas where you find people waking up as early as 3 a.m. Just to go to work, sometimes just to beat the traffic, one, and also to relieve themselves of the stress of not finding a vehicle to their various workplaces. And this is a situation in the Ashanti region and parts of the Ashanti region. So before the Christmas and New Year festivity, we saw the KMA coming in to also enforce some of these regulations, ensuring that drivers do not charge extra fares. Some vehicles were impounded. The drivers were made to come to the assembly to sign a bond. And also they were fined, but the issue still persisted. So you realize that areas where the KMA task force are not present, drivers take advantage of the situation and they do whatever they want. And areas where you know that, so the KMA task force only are able to enforce some of these directives in the mornings and also in the afternoons. When it comes to the evening, from 6 to 8, where people are not getting vehicles from the Central Business District, you don't find members of the task force there. And this is just KMA. So other areas I've mentioned, so you have the Swami municipality, you don't have that being activated, the enforcement of the task force. You go to the Sofoline areas, you don't have that activated stock of the Kwadasu municipality. You go to the Abrim areas, you don't have that also activated in terms of the Kwabri East municipality. So it's just KMA. And most of these drivers, because they come from the Central Business District, Dr. Mensa and KGT areas, all those areas fall within KMA, and KMA is able to regulate some of these activities, impounding the vehicles, getting the drivers to find them, and you have the issue reducing. But when it's in the evening, you don't have the task force there, so the drivers just go ahead and do whatever they want.
TJ, tell me, if you've had the chance to speak to any of these drivers, and what is the reason behind overcharging?
Well, I spoke to one of the drivers in my report. He justified the actions. He said that because of the traffic situation in the morning or usually at the peak hours, so in the evening, you are experiencing so much traffic on the major streets and intersections. So they want to also take advantage of loading what is locally or commonly known as short. So they pick passengers, not taking them to the straight destination. They drop them at some junctions or areas. Then they load again to another area, then to the final destination, that is the central business district. So he mentioned that because usually the morning traffic, they are not able to beat the traffic. So they want to take advantage of this method of loading passengers to their destination so that they can at least meet their daily targets of sales. So they complain about they buying fuel, they also giving part of the money to the car owners or the vehicle owners. They also trying to do
Seems to be having issues with TJ's connection.
Yeah.
But I think I can ask you the same question. Were you able to speak to some of the drivers? What is the reason for overcharging?
I couldn't speak to any of them. It's almost as though they know what they are doing is wrong, so they refuse to speak to you the moment you request for an interview. Let me also add that there were private vehicles that had to be turned into commercial vehicles. So vehicles that ordinarily do not operate as commercial vehicles were being used as commercial vehicles to convey people to their various destinations. I saw private cars, the Toyota Voxy that has been in the trends lately, being used as structure to convey people to their various destinations. So the situation is really bad.
Are these private vehicles charging as well?
Some are charging, some are only helping people who are stranded.
Okay.
Yeah, do you see the truck, basically a cargo truck?
Yeah, a cargo truck with people being piled into it.
Achimota
Yeah, I saw
station.
that.
Because there was an instance where a woman with a baby behind there was jumping onto that truck, and they were actually asked to pay, and they were willing to pay.
Yeah.
So it reinforces my point that Ghanaians don't even necessarily want free, or they don't want
to pay.
They want structure and they want organization, and that is why I disagree with people who say, well, a short-term approach to this is an individual or a private person or member of parliament even organizing buses for them. No, a short-term measure should be a properly coordinated system being led by the transport ministry. Because I'll argue that, for example, if imagine all MPs in affected constituencies say they are going to get vehicles for their constituents, you end up worsening the problem because they pick one person from one point to another and drop them there, and there are no buses there. This is what I'm referring to. So, Hafiz is back on the line. We should probably engage him for more insights. But I felt that
I think this was a crowd.
a more effective short-term measure is the transport ministry coming together to say, this is our plan for it in the interim. Local assembly ministry on board, coordinating the movement of remaining buses, rather than private individuals just calling and say, bring me an empty bus. So they didn't mean that all along there was an empty bus there, and they didn't think it was necessary to put it on the streets. So I know people will praise and say, oh, he's helping, or that individual is helping. But at the end of the day, you risk creating a bigger problem somewhere else.
That's true.
I've said that it was fantastic. The vice president, led the charge. I commend her highly for taking this up very seriously. So we know that she went to some of the stakeholders. She went to MMT. She went to Ayalolo. She met with GAPT. She met with concerned drivers, GPRTU, and all of that. That is the kind of leadership we expected in this, not what some people have described as optics. And so I wonder how the situation will look like on Monday. But I don't know, Fifi, from what did you get a sense? Because it peaked on Thursday. Then on Friday, the meetings happened. Did you go back to check if you had reduced?
So we are hoping that Monday we'll see these buses that we were promised they will be in town. So if by Monday we do not see these buses, then it means that.
But how about Friday evening? Do you get a sense that, because we are being told that buses were on the streets?
No, Friday I didn't see buses at any of the places I was at. Yeah, I didn't see any of the government buses.
Hafiz, thank you so much for joining us again. We are also being